So picking up on part 2, we're going to go to Article 3, and it is about the directors and the powers that they have. So I noted that directors do not have to be Tennessee residents or shareholders unless it is stated in the charter or bylaws, and I thought that was important if the client would like to keep them Tennessee residents or not. And you can see that stated over here. And then here it says the number of directors. So right now we have 2, and that can be changed, and it can also be determined on how it is increased or decreased. And that is stated up here in Part B of 103. So then you have the term of office, how long they stay in office, and what happens with a vacancy is also covered. Any removals or resignation, the regular meetings of directors, the special meetings of directors, and then again, it's reiterated about the participation via telecommunications. I thought it was interesting to note that the notice of directors meeting, it requires notice to help with any attendance issues that may arise. So having this provision in there definitely helps to keep the attendance good. And again, we have some yellow highlight here that can be edited to meet what the client would prefer in this instance. So then we go over to the quorum of directors. That's section D. And a director who is present in the meeting of the board of directors when corporate action is taken, is deemed to have assented to the action taken. Meaning that if the director's there, then and he didn't make any objection prior to the meeting, then he's there in agreement with what's going on and the purpose of the meeting. So I thought that was interesting and noteworthy. The compensation, generally directors will not get paid any money for their services, but they can fix that compensation. And that is covered here in section 111. And can change if the charter and bylaws so state that their services and the meetings. So we scroll down here a little bit more and talk about the officers for just a moment. The officers can hold more than one office, and I thought that was good since the clients have a small company. Then it most certainly is okay to be the chief financial officer as well as the secretary, and you can see that here. In section D. And then coming on down, sorry about the jump. And it talks about the different officers, the titles, and then the share certificates and transfer, and how the shares and everything works with getting that divvied up. And It isn't covered really as a provision that is what happens if a certificate is lost, but there is a general practice that's kind of across the board in regards to what Tennessee does in their bylaws regarding lost, stolen, destroyed certificates. So again, I thought that was interesting to find out that there wasn't anything that really designated about what the lost or destroyed ones are about. Um, Here we discuss the distributions, and it may not be made if the corporation cannot pay its debts, or the total assets do not add up to what the company needs it to be, if it was to be dissolved, or to the liabilities that are outstanding. So, and this talks about that part on section A. And almost towards the end, have some miscellaneous things, checks, drafts, how the fiscal year is. The fiscal year changes depending on the company when the highest, busiest part of the season is. So it can be in the summer or the end of the year or in the first quarter. It can just vary company to company, which is important for the Secretary of State to know. And then we can also amend the bylaws, which is talked about here. The directors may amend and repeal the corporation, or the shareholders can do that as well. It just depends on what the client would like to have done. So that covers the bylaws. And thanks so much.